to stand up for wrestling. I am here to give the fans a voice.
If you're not watching the promotion right now, you're missing out on something I think that could possibly shape the future of wrestling, and I mean this wholeheartedly, for the next 5 to 10 years.
Nobody can touch me. Nobody is better than Adam Cole.
This company is still existing, yet they have to do this at the 11th hour to make sure that they run these tapings. I thought TNA was going to be different, and I guess not.
This is truly the Kevin Owens Show.
Pentagon Jr. is the wind beneath my wings. The only thing that we get at 10 for sure, maybe at 11, is Ken Shamrock showing up.
You're big into trophies, so I got you this. Open it from me to you. It's an old bowling trophy of mine. I didn't win or anything. It's actually just a participation trophy. You know, I just kind of felt bad for you, and I wanted you to have it because here's the thing. That's the only trophy you're ever going to get from me.
You're not John Cena.
You're damn right I'm not John Cena. Nothing against John, but you beat John Cena in a wrestling match. On that night, you were the better wrestler than John Cena, but that's not the game I play. When you're in the ring with me, it's a battlefield. It's my battlefield. I drag guys to places they've never been before. I drag guys underwater where they can't breathe anymore, past their breaking point. If anybody knows that, it ought to be you, because the only time me and you were ever in the ring together, I beat you. But I'm not walking around here with an AJ Styles jockstrap on my forehead reminding the world that I beat you once before. I'm not living in the past. I'm looking at the future. I'm looking toward this Sunday at Backlash. I get to do it again. I get to drill your head into this canvas like it was a railroad spike, and I get to walk out still WWE World Champion. If you want a trophy, son, you better pick that up, or you better take up bowling, because we don't give away trophies around here for the face that comes in second place.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the mat.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughn, Sean Garmer, and Paul Leeser.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 211, part 1 of Wrestling to the Max. I am your host, Gary Vaughn, and we are going to rock and roll through another great episode. I'm looking forward to a lot of the things we've got to discuss today. We're going to talk about Battle of Los Angeles and who won that actual show. Plus, we're going to jump into Paige. That's right. Well, not literally, but we're going to talk about her in general.
I man can dream.
You're dreaming. I knew you guys were.
Alberto Del Rio doesn't have to dream.
No. But he's his dreams may lead her out of a job. And so we will talk about that, our thoughts about what's going to be in the future of Paige. Is it WB or is it somebody, asking her to come to another promotion? We'll talk about that. And, of course, we have a lot of other great news topics we're going to jump into today. You don't want to miss any of that. Plus, guys, we're going to talk some Ring of Honor. It's going to be a really cool episode to get into. So we got a good show for you guys. I just want to let you know, of course, we got Backlash coming. So if you're expecting Backlash talk tonight, nope. You got to wait. We are going to actually get into Backlash and all our predictions on Thursday night live on Spreaker.com. If you want to just check us out on the download, it's going to be available Friday morning in your docket just so you can hear it on, your own leisure. So wanted to let you guys know that right away. And, of course, we'll jump into a lot of other great shows on that Friday download show. Of course, NXT, TNA. And, of course, we also will have some Lucha Underground Season 3 to talk about as well. So a big show you don't want to miss. But for this show, I'm excited. We've got tons of stuff to get into. Of course, I'm not doing this show alone. Of course, we got Mr. Paul Leeser with us today.
Heyo.
And Sean Garmer.
What's up, everybody?
That's all I like to hear. I was thinking back to the old days of, what is that? Remember that? I don't know. So that's the way you brought that out.
Ourselves here.
Yes.
You remember those 7-Up shirts? Remember that? They used to be a big thing,
I try not to remember the fact that, we were kids back then when those 7-Up shirts came out.
Speak for yourself. I was in high school, I think. But anyway.
Well, I mean, I would have not been too far behind. I would have been like junior high or something.
Sorry, my wife makes me feel old all the time. She always talks about her freshman year in high school, and I was like, yeah, I was in college. It just, it's kind of awkward, I guess, a little bit there. But at the same time, I can at least, feel like I'm distinguished now. I get some gray in the beard. I get to feel like, I know something, even though not know a whole lot. So that's just the way things work. You can get older and be dumb. Sometimes I am very dumb. Just ask my wife. But anyway.
Gary Vaughn, the elder statesman of the W2M podcast.
That's right. Pretty soon I'm going to be like, one of those old guys like, Bret Hart, just sitting on here and hating on everything that comes our way,
That might be the time to cancel the podcast.
or I get fired. So one of the two.
We can't fire you, Gary. But somehow we'll just have to put when it's time for Gary to start the 4 out of 10 hour. We'll just have to put him on mute or something.
I'll host that show, man. That would be a blast.
Paul's in.
I'm in.
Well, no, we'd have to call it something else. We call it Gary's 4 out of 10 hour. Then we.
Yeah, there you go. I like it, and I could rate myself. But anyway,
Grumpy Gary.
Yeah, I love it. Instead of Grumpy Cat, Grumpy Gary, man, let's get that going.
Yes,
Come on,
we need to get hashtag. But see, you have to actually be grumpy right now for that to be.
Oh man, gosh darn it! Oh, don't worry. We'll see on Sunday if my Cowboys do lose. You will see Grumpy Gary come out. So
me and Brandon have to do that damn game. So.
Oh boy, lots of Dak Prescott, Eli Manning. Oh boy. But Paul, I know you're excited. You get to watch your team first before all of us do. Thursday night live, you get a chance to check out your Denver Broncos facing off against those Carolina Panthers.
I'm gonna have to check that out some other time. This Thursday is Chris Hero and Cody Rhodes here out at Arlington for VIP Wrestling, which I will be at in the front row, sporting my new Cody Rhodes T-shirt. So
awesome!
Yeah. Super pumped.
Well,
Paul
jealous. Will have the live report.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be exciting to see. And Paul, you got to take some pictures somewhere, sometime. So, and of course, be checking those out. I'm sure Paul will upload those to our, Wrestling to the Max group, and you'll get a chance to see those on Facebook. And maybe some other places we're not going to talk about right now, but we've got some big announcements that are coming your way. You may see those pictures on another platform as well. So just want to throw that your way, maybe a little of intrigue for the future. But all right, guys, well, let's get into it. We've got some news topics that I'm really interested in jumping into. I hope you are too. So let's go ahead and do it. We are going to talk some quick hits.
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
Oh.
Alrighty, guys. Oof, man, we got some interesting stuff. What's going on?
I was just saying.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you heard my clicks or not.
That's okay. Yeah, I did hear the clicks. Thank God. But I got worried. I thought something of the breaking news happened. Maybe someone got suspended or something. Never know. Maybe Rusev got suspended for going on his honeymoon. You never know in the WWE now.
Yeah, somebody will be reporting that at some point. I can't wait. Ringside News being an ass all week on Twitter. Let's report this stuff too. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm taking out my
you're fine.
on a douchebag today, but you go ahead.
Yeah, I know. That's okay. I'm just imagining Vince himself. He probably is, listening to us right now and thinking, I really wish I could suspend him because he's with Lana and I'm at the WWE's headquarters, So that's probably what Vince is thinking. But anyway, let's talk about something that's really cool, guys. Battle of Los Angeles was this past week, and you got a chance to see the crowned champion of BOLA, and that, of course, is Marty Scurll. Wow, Paul, I did not actually get a chance to see this. Did you get a chance to see it? And what do you think about this victory for him?
The only way to see BOLA is to be there live. Now we all, the rest of the world's waiting for the DVDs like a bunch of schlubs.
I forget. Every time I forget that PWG does their own thing and they make you buy those DVDs and there's no way to hack into and watch it. So, man, all of us are left out in the cold. But, I mean, what do you think about the victory?
I think it's really cool. Whenever you got out of the first round, more than half the spots were occupied by guys coming out of the British indie wrestling scene right now. Mark Haskins, Marty Scurll, of course, Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., Mark Andrews, and I mean I think it speaks very highly of what's coming out of England right now as far as wrestling goes. And of course, I mean, the showcase matches were supposed to be off the charts insane. There's a clip floating around of Phoenix and Will Ospreay's match where Phoenix goes for a C4 and they both land on their feet and Ospreay damn near choke slams him out of his boots for a reversal. It's incredible, and I need these to come out now. I got to throw money at my TV or my laptop screen right now.
He's gonna make it rain, guys. I can't wait
just
to
take
see
my
that.
money, PWG. Just take it now.
Yeah, I think
I'm
the Ricochet, Seidel, and I forgot who's in the tag. Is it Ospreay?
Yeah, it's Ricochet, Ospreay, and Seidel against Adam Cole and the Young Bucks for the main event of night 2.
Yeah, like everybody apparently was yelling 5-star match at Meltzer, who was there, and we're hoping he would hold up 5, but he did not.
What a jerk!
He would have got like the biggest pop of the whole weekend if you. But apparently,
he was trolling.
But seriously, that match was supposed to be like freaking amazing. So, can't wait to see that, and of course all the BOLA stuff.
If I was, Meltzer, I'd turn around to the crowd and said, "You want 5 stars? Well, then show me Roman Reigns." Oh, anyway, just to troll him, man, just to really mess with him, and I'd hold up PWI's magazine. But anyway, enough
and
about
from
me.
that moment on, Meltzer is no longer allowed at a PWG show.
See, that's why I'm not Dave Meltzer. But I just like to troll sometimes, not very much. But I mean, yeah, this is really cool. I mean, Marty.
He did go on and say that he had better abs than John Morrison. So,
Ooh, man.
There was a picture floating around of him over the weekend, and he's jacked. He's in some really good shape, that Meltzer guy.
Yeah, for like 50 years old. Apparently that's what he does watching Raw. He lifts weights.
Oh, really?
I mean, if you had time to do anything else watching Raw, I think I would too. So that's what I do most of the time.
I can think of
trying to find something else to do.
Yeah, trust me, and I can find some entertaining things to do watching Raw. But yeah, I mean, that's the best way to get in Vince's presence is to work out. Make yourself look
That's true.
like a male Barbie doll. That's the best way to do it. So anyway, but this is great. I mean, Marty Scurll, congratulations to him. Battle of Los Angeles. This is really cool. And so hopefully, man, sooner than later we'll get a chance to check out that match and all those other great things that we heard about that came out of that show. Let's talk about Paige. I mean, it's kind of interesting because there's nothing great to talk about Paige about. We've talked about plenty of times on this show the saga of Del Rio and Paige and WWE and their displeasure with their relationship and, the suspensions of both of them at exactly the same time. We don't know what happened there. I'm just going to guessing that's just kind of WWE's way of saying, here's your ticket out. You just got to serve a suspension, then we'll fire you. But we've heard Del Rio's done, quit. That makes sense completely. I think all of us could agree. We saw that writing on the wall clearly. Paige, on the other hand, we haven't heard much of. We haven't really heard any rumors or anything saying that she's completely making up her mind that she's going to leave or WWE's done with her or what. But right now, the relationship between her and WB is not very good. It's a very poor situation. I don't know, guys. I'm leaning to maybe her being out. I mean, I think that she has something to offer the company, but if she's really that in deep love with Del Rio, I guess she could be on her way out just because of that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, follow your heart and all that if you're truly into the guy and everything, but you're walking away, I think, from a very large opportunity to really sort of stake a claim to being one of the largest, forget gender lines, one of the largest stars in the world, as WWE is all behind the women's division right now. You're on Raw. You're in a division that really could use some depth, and you add a lot to that division. Walking away, I think, would be a huge career mistake at this point. But that's not to say she couldn't find her way on the indies. There's plenty of places, not only here in the States, but back home for her in England and elsewhere in the world who would more than happy to be to find a space for her on their rosters.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like Paul said, there's plenty of places she could go. I don't think that's a worry at all of where you go and make money. Of course, having that WWE name and also being young and having the opportunity to sort of leave and come back if that's a possibility for her too. I think we talked about did we talk about the whole thing with? I swear we talked about it. The whole thing with Del Rio and WWE supposedly forcing her to break up with him.
Yeah,
we did talk about that.
It's just, it's crazy that would happen, because in almost no other world that could be a thing, unless, I think the only times I've seen that happen is if the significant other is constantly coming to the workplace and disrupting, which I guess you could sort of say perhaps they thought Del Rio was doing the same thing, disrupting her from being able to be doing her job right or something. But it's just, we'll have to see. That's kind of sucks to see her leave after they're really doing this thing with the women's division and she's really not getting a fair shake out of it. Kind of sucks. She was there kind of at the forefront of it, and while it kind of simmered and didn't do much, and then when stuff's going on, she doesn't get to really be a part of it. So
yeah, and that is a big bummer. And I understand her thought process of I really care for this person, so I'm going to follow them to the end of the world. It happens at a regular rate in life, and we see people all the time, either a spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend, however kind of lays out, they will leave a city that they've grown up in, or they will move and quit their job because that other person, significant other, gets another job in another place, and they'll drop everything, their friends, family, and work, just to be with that one person. And this could be where Paige is at now. This whole controversy, surrounding, did WB tell her that, and of course Del Rio, that they could not be together? I could see that totally. Once again, you got to think who the boss is. Vince McMahon. This is his company. This is his toy box, and if it doesn't work out the way he wants it, and it's not going, in the direction behind the scenes even that he likes, I could see them being in that realm of, hey, this is going to hurt you. This is going to maybe cause us to have to think about you being in the future. Now, the one thing I will say is that, I've heard reports that, people like Natalya have talked to Paige. Other people that have been close to the situation have tried to get in her ear a little bit and explain to her that this is not a good idea, that, Del Rio is great and all, but, maybe he's leading you in the wrong direction. We've known for a long time Del Rio is just not happy at WWE. It's about the money. And, I think they fear that, Paige is going to be skewed by one man's thoughts, and that's going to hurt her. And I think people will have her best interest at heart, even if she doesn't have her own interest at heart. So I can kind of see that's another thing we've got going on. And I don't know, guys. I mean, do you really feel like, Paige is really going to be a long-lasting person if she does get out of this company? Because I could see kind of like Cody Rhodes has had some success, bookings out the door. But I fear, after a little while, I mean, that star will start to fade quicker, I think, than anything, because at least Cody Rhodes has been a fan favorite for a long time. She's still young. She's been a fan favorite for a time, but it is not as long as some of the other people out there.
I mean, Paige has been wrestling since she was much, much younger. Like, I think she started wrestling when she was 14 or 15, and she's, 23 now? I mean, she's got some time under her belt. She spent some time here in the States in Shimmer. Wrestling has blown up back home in England, and especially Progress is getting ready to crown a women's champion. And you're seeing growth in women's wrestling in England, too. So it's not like she's not without a wealth of options, and certainly brings her own clout and gravitas to the proceedings if she decides to join these promotions again. And obviously, I don't think it'll be the level of Cody Rhodes, because Cody Rhodes has masterfully worked social media to crafting his own story of following him around and all these big matchups and the list. And we're going to talk about some more of that stuff happening for him. But I don't think Paige will disappear. There are plenty of ways to stay in the limelight outside the WWE. You see people prove it all the time. Whether it's Cody Rhodes levels, I don't know, but she'll be a name she'll stick around with.
Sean, I mean, Paul made some good points there. There's plenty of places she can go. She still has the name. She has a home country that, loves her to death, and, they'll definitely support her all the way. But the big but in this is, do you actually see her following that path, or do you still find her circling around Del Rio and sticking to maybe the locations he's at? If he goes to Mexico and's in Mexico, do you think she's actually going to go back overseas and be a distance relationship, take bookings in New Japan or wherever anywhere in Japan, anywhere she can find work? Do you think she's going to be that far away from him, especially if she's putting one of the biggest companies in wrestling?
I'd love to see her be in Stardom, just me personally, but it depends. I mean, look, nothing makes the heart grow fonder more than distance, and it's just one of these two things, right? Like, they've already tried to separate them in the draft. That apparently didn't work. So then they had to get forcible with it, however it is that they did it, if it was done or not, or whatever. So does that eventually wear on you to the point where you say, okay, you know what? Maybe it's better if we do just split off. And perhaps that's what she needs is it takes that for her to, and takes her quitting WWE to just sort of revitalize herself and say, okay, well, look, all these options that I have, let's start taking those. Let's start getting this thing back into wrestling, make it about wrestling again, not so much about the men or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to sort of speculate about what she's going to do in her personal life, if she's going to follow him around or not, or if they're done or not done. It's just, I kind of feel like that's sort of out of our spectrum as far as, that's, I do hope that whether she stays there or whether she leaves, I know that, like Paul says, she's got a zillion options. I just really would hate to see her not take those options to go follow a guy around, because that usually just never ends well. Just doesn't.
Yeah, and I don't want to speculate just to speculate, about her personal life, because honestly, it's not my life.
And I'll say this from a personal experience: doing stuff because of another person doesn't always end well. So I just really hope that whatever is going on, she has considered all the options and not just going by, hey, I'm just going to go over here because that's where he's going.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I agree. But the one thing that I'm looking at here is that's my biggest reason for asking the question is the landscape of the future. Are we going to be watching a WWE documentary one day on the network that Paige had a downtime and then was able to rise, or are we going to be talking about a once known starlet in the company who went into obscurity and was never really heard of again. That's the one thing I got to ask myself. I mean, are we going to eventually, have a fairy tale story of someone who triumphed over some dark times, or are we going to have somebody who once again we have a tragedy on our hands, or just a sad story of potential loss. So I don't know if any of us know what's going to happen. This is just all speculation.
The thing too we have to remember is like what Paul says, the rest is 15. Like what we go through, where we went to college at 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, whatever. She was wrestling and she was doing stuff. There was parts of you that, maybe she didn't really have those times where everybody has that down period in their life, and and this might just be hers right now. So
yeah, I mean, it also depends on how her leaving the company sort of works out. If she leaves on at least semi-decent good terms, she could always, I'm sure the door could be open at some point for her to make a return.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope we don't get a self-destruction of Paige DVD, certainly.
Yeah. To make it would be really interesting. So saying that, I like I said, we're all speculating here. We're going back and forth, and you know what? This is rumor. This is not confirmed. This is nothing that we know as fact. So everything we just talked about here could be for none. She could stay with the company. Del Rio could leave, and things stay the way that they are apparently. But we don't know. Once again, we're just speculating. Well, let's talk about something we're not speculating about. Let's talk about Cody Rhodes. And man, Paul just told you not long ago about the fact that he's doing very well for himself. He's used social media to his, best way, and it's really making him shine out there. And right now, we actually have him going to New Japan for some dates. And in fact, we've even heard that he could be facing a guy in Shibata, which I know excites the crap out of Paul. And then we also have some talk about him joining up with TNA and Ring of Honor for some shows. And those, of course, will be without a contract. They'll just be him appearing and making some leadway with those companies. So, man, Paul, this guy is traveling. He's doing everything that list he put out there right when he left WB said he wanted to do. He's getting to do it.
Absolutely. I think the only thing he hasn't done off the list now is face Moose. And that might be why he's in TNA. It's simply just to face Moose. But certainly, we knew Ring of Honor was already a thing. He's been confirmed for Final Battle at the end of this year for them. TNA is an interesting wrinkle, especially without a contract. I'm very interested in that. But him in New Japan, this was speculated a lot on. It's very cool that it seems to be true. And if he's wrestling Shibata, my God, that's a dream match in heaven for me. That should be great.
What do you think, Sean, about this whole thing?
Yeah, him and Shibata, that's going to be some awesome match right there if we get to see that. Him wrestling Mike Bennett in TNA again, that could be good, and of course, whatever he's doing in ROH. So I think this is a cool thing that he's getting to work these without a contract, and I understand Cody. He says, I'm never signing a full-time contract again, and good on him for sticking to that.
Yeah, and that is a good deal for him, and we've often speculated, how long is this journey outside the WWE going to last? And, it could last a while, apparently, for right now, as it speaks. This guy is still one of the hottest names in wrestling, being an independent contractor and being a guy that goes wherever he kind of feels is appropriate. And I just wonder if he is ever going to walk back into WWE. And now that he has, let's be honest, a following behind him, and the fact that his star is shining brighter than it's shined in a long time, is WWE going to have to do what they do with some of these other guys like Brock Lesnar and just kind of go by what he wants to do and not necessarily what they want to do if he ever decides to go down that path? What do you think, Paul? He's doing so many great things and he's so successful. Does he, and when would he ever grace another WWE appearance?
I think he will come back to WWE at some point. I just don't think it will be for a while now, because so far he's been wildly successful on the indie scenes. The Evolve shows he was at have sold out. I think the shows he's done in England have sold out already, and they haven't even happened yet. I know he's facing Kurt Angle over there. So many different places, not only here in the States, but all over the world, they're making a lot of money with this journey that he's going on. And that's really what he wanted to do was to go out there and sort of help promote indie wrestling, help a lot of guys out there make a lot of money, and sort of bring awareness, maybe not only to them, but to himself, obviously. And then, I don't know if he ever reaches a Brock Lesnar level of infamy or fame or whatever you want to call it, but certainly I think this could be sort of a blueprint of what WWE does with some guys, and maybe down the road of projects they've built from, I won't say Cody Rhodes was a WWE project, but certainly a guy who is known for working with them for a long period of time and then sending him out on the indies like this. Maybe this is a blueprint for that. Who knows? But I don't think Cody will be back 5 years, probably. I think it'll be a while.
Sean, I mean, this is, very interesting, and I'm excited for Cody Rhodes, no matter what he decides with, going out there and being the biggest indie star out there, or if he does decide to join WWE, sooner than later. But saying all that, is there anybody in your mind that you would love to see him face that he hasn't faced so far out there in the indie circuit? Can you think of anybody? He's faced a lot of people now.
He's faced quite a few of the big names already. Maybe him and Aaron Rex in a different company. That could be interesting. Him and Aaron Rex and TNA could be fun stuff. Him and Galloway could be good too. It is what it is with Cody Rhodes. He's wrestling all these great people, and that's good that he's doing that.
Mm-hmm. I agree, 100%. Let's talk about something that's going to be really great, and I'm looking forward to hearing about it, and of course, maybe even see some of the stuff that takes place here. NXT is heading over to Japan, guys. December 3rd, they are going to Osaka, Japan. And if I'm not wrong, this is where Asuka's from, right? Osaka? And so this is going to be really cool. Homecoming for her. And, of course, with Nakamura a part of this roster, it's going to definitely be another big show for them. What do you think about this, though? It's really cool for me personally, once again, to see NXT do something like on this scale.
Is it a house show or is it a takeover special?
No, it's a house show because it's right before they go to New Zealand and Australia.
Okay. Because if this was a takeover special, then somebody get on the horn and book Kenta versus Nakamura for that NXT title right now in your main event, and just watch the dollars fly.
Yeah, really.
At any rate, the influx of Japanese talent to NXT makes this a must-see show. We've seen Nakamura go over there. I think Itami has also already been back over there too, as well as Osaka on their last tour of Japan. So maybe not as special, but still, that NXT, the brand, the product, all of that, it fits no matter what country you go to, and I'm sure that'll be a really special show to be at.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be awesome. Too bad we won't get to really see it other than, maybe some highlight stuff or whatever, but should be some fantastic things to hear about and just seeing the crowd and how they react and everything. That's going to be great. I'm sure there will be people taking gifts and having live video and stuff that we'll get to see.
It's a real shame they can't do it closer to the end of the year. The end of the year going into the new year, Japan turns into this giant wrestling mecca because all of the promotions do these shows all over Tokyo and Osaka and all these big places, and NXT being there for that time could have been something really cool.
Yeah, man, I don't know why they haven't really decided to do something like that. To me, it only makes sense. It's kind of the same with WrestleMania in the States. Everybody comes and flocks to WrestleMania and tries to do the same thing. So I think it'd be a good idea. Maybe they will do that eventually. But right now, it's kind of a shame they're not. So,
I just don't think WWE wants to play second fiddle to anything because
Yeah.
that's the weak build up towards Wrestle Kingdom.
Mhm.
But it'll be cool.
I get it. You don't want to play second fiddle, but I just think your presence being there. Not only that, it's not like you're sending your main roster over there. You're sending your developmental roster technically. So I kind of feel like it's not that much of a slap in the face if you want to look at it like that. I think it's just you're doing something that could make you actually some money. But anyway. Well, guys, that is quick hits for us for this episode. We are going to be doing some other great things, like talk about Ring of Honor. That's right. We've got a new episode to get into. So without any further delay, we are going to jump on over there and talk Ring of Honor.
Give me a second here. Good fall.
Just real quick shout out too before we dive into Ring of Honor. Team Sendai Girls won the King of Trios tournament for Chikara this past weekend too. So hats off to them. That whole tournament was headlined. The finals came down to 2 female teams, which is kind of cool.
Pretty awesome.
So anyways, Ring of Honor. As I desperately search for my review that I've written. So we open with some video highlights of the main event from Death Before Dishonor, which if you still haven't watched that, fix that right now. Good. Pause this, go find it, watch it, come right back. Okay, I'm assuming you're back now. So the Bullet Club, the Bullet Club opened the show. Yeah, well, pausing is instantaneous. I like to think that they live up to their word, their end of the bargain that I'm creating here. It's a contract. Don't break. The Bullet Club contingent of Adam Cole, Hangman Page, the Gorillas of Destiny, and Yujiro Takahashi come on down to the ring. And it's story time with Adam Cole, baby. And he's talking about keeping promises, specifically when it relates to the Ring of Honor title, and that he beat Jay Lethal for it. And he already talks about having targets on his back and the Bullet Club having targets on their back simply because they're the very best. And, of course, when you talk about the very best in pro wrestling, you can't do it without Jay Lethal coming out, who says pretty much that things aren't over between him and Cole just yet. And Cole sort of mocks him, sort of complaining, of course you're not going to say that I came out and just beat you. You're going to do all this and that, and I'll always be better than you, Lethal, and bada, bada, bada. Essentially what it boils down to, Adam Cole has the night off, and lets Jay know that he's got running buddies now. He's not just Adam Cole. And Lethal says, Cole, you can have your night off, but I got friends too. And out comes Tetsuya Naito and Evil, who Lethal has been semi-associated with. And that is, I think, since changed, if I remember my New Japan shows correctly, that he got attacked by them and tossed out since the face turn. But obviously Ring of Honor hasn't gotten the message yet, so that takes us to our commercial break and a infographic that next week it's going to be Adam Cole, Hangman Page, and Yujiro Takahashi taking on Lethal, Naito, and Evil in 6-man tag action. And the string of videos continues on because we get highlights of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team situation from last week where the Addiction and the Young Bucks went at it for the belts, and the Addiction came out on top. But there was a ladder that came into play and all this other stuff. And the video is very unflattering to the Addiction. It shows them getting beat up a lot, and they aren't pleased with that. And they're accusing Nigel McGuinness, and they're accusing Ring of Honor of trying to embarrass them and slandering them with all of this quote-unquote doctored footage. You guys, you just got beat up. It happens,
Yeah.
And then we get a highlight package of the Legacy of Hatred storyline where they get to talk about Punisher Martinez joining up and all this other stuff. Essentially a recap almost, which is always necessary because it's complicated and disjointed and kind of doesn't make sense unless you've been following the whole thing. And that takes us right to our opening match, this simmering feud that's been going on between the Cabinet and Dalton Castle and his boys. And Castle ends up beating Coleman here with a bangarang. The boys get involved with the Tope Con Hilo on ANX on the outside, who are distracting the referee and all that fun stuff. But The match was fine, but what did you think about this string of opening stuff in the match, Gary?
Oh man, actually, this opening segment coming out, and of course, the Bullet Club and all that comes with it is very interesting, and you want to know what's going to happen, what their ideas are, and I love this back and forth between Adam Cole and Lethal. This was really fun because I've been enjoying so much Lethal's thought process, especially now kind of in the babyface here. And his interaction with Cole, and man, I was so happy to see Naito and Evil. This was something that was very special to me. It was just a very stand up and clap moment for me. So I'm thrilled about the match coming up next week. It's going to be a blast. I'm already looking forward to it, and it's kind of also cool that Jay Lethal, one of the really best wrestlers out there going, is teaming up with these guys. Of course, Naito is one of my favorites in the world. So. And of course, you mentioned the addiction. I mean, this is just right up their alley, right? Complain, and basically say everybody else is making them look bad. Everybody else is making them out to be bad guys, but they're not really. Blah blah blah. So I think that was interesting. And of course, we also get that match you mentioned with, of course, Dalton Castle and that situation. And I really, once again, I love Dalton Castle, and I loved the way the boys and him interact in this match too. So it's one of those where I kind of say I enjoyed the match, and I enjoyed this opening slew of different video packages, and of course that opening segment.
Yeah, I mean, it's a solid start, and I think with the announcement of the World Six-Man Tag Team Title Tournament, I'm pretty sure both these teams are going to be involved in that. The Cabinet for sure, and I'm sure the Dalton Castle and his boys will make it in there too. But we're going to talk some more about that later on in this show. But right now, they switched to showing a highlight package of Jay Briscoe and Jay White's time limit draw from a couple weeks ago on television, which is another match I would recommend you find. It's pretty good. And that plays into what's going to be our main event, which is the Briscoes taking on Jay White and Lio Rush. But we'll get there in just a second, because we got more addiction fun here as they come out on top of the stage with a ladder, and they're running down Nigel some more in Ring of Honor, and they go over all the teams they've beaten, and they say, they use the ladder as a comparison. They say they're the very top rung, and everybody else they've beaten is all the other rungs below them, and this is a really tall ladder, so a lot of teams. And then Bobby Fish gets some promo time to talk about his upcoming Ring of Honor World TV title match next week against Katsuyori Shibata, which that is sure to be a freaking barn burner. And then Dijak gets to squash the unfortunately named Manny Lemons. Which is all you need to know, because the second they announce him, I'm like, this poor guy is so dead.
Yep. Yeah, sure he was sour after that.
Gary.
Then throw that out there.
You slay me. Post-match, Prince Nana talks about how it doesn't matter who the television champion is because Dijak's going to beat him up. Simple stuff there. The Briscoes get some promo time, talk about that upcoming tag match I just mentioned between them and Rush and White. And then we get a nice hype video for the Women of Honor. They talk about their big special that they shot for their video on demand thing that they have on their website. It's $10. It's highly worth your time if you guys want to go track it down. Really good. The main event between Candice LeRae and Kelly Klein is quite good, as well as the rest of the show. But that takes us to our main event. Lio Rush and Jay White take on the Briscoes. And it's announced during this that the Briscoes are going to be teaming up with Toru Yano for that World Six-Man Tag Team Title Tournament, as well as ACH will team up with Lio Rush and Jay White, which is just a godly flippy team. And this match is really, really good. Right up there. The Briscoes pretty much managed to outwork Lio Rush and Jay White, and they put, I believe they put White away with the Doomsday device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Boy, that was a lot of fun. That main event was just everything. You look at the names on there and you automatically think it's going to be great. It was. It lived up to every minute of what it's supposed to be. And, it's one of those where, you just think, man, I mean, Ring of Honor just has something great going here because they have those young guys like Leo Rush and, of course, Jay Wyatt. Mm-hmm. I mean, just out there and performing against these guys that are veterans who, just seem to never run out of gas. They just don't. And the Briscoes are excellent, and they've been one of the best tag teams in Ring of Honor, and of course, I would even say in wrestling for a long time now. So it was just a great match overall. Honestly, you need to go check it out. I mean, even if this is the only thing you watch, I mean, it was just a lot of fun. And I do want to mention before we get out of here, the Addiction is awesome, and I love what they had them do on this show and the whole ladder thing and all that. It's just classic Addiction, but I mean, I just think overall there's a reason they're highlighting these guys, and it's because they are entertaining and they really kind of gave you some insight on how they feel and why they feel slighted and things like that. And not saying you want to feel bad for those guys, but you kind of see where they're coming from. They're not just out there being jerks,
Right.
So, it's all good. I mean, overall, you mentioned that Women of Honor, also that, video package. It's very interesting that Ring of Honor has been really putting together some great video packages, doing a good job in their production with those. And that package alone does make you want to watch that. And hey, I mean, it makes you want to spend that $10 pretty quickly. So.
Yeah, I might have to write up a review for that show just to sort of give it some more attention because it's one of the few things that I've actually tweeted about, and both Women of Honor and Ring of Honor have retweeted it. So, yeah, go 10
That's
seconds
awesome.
of fame. Leo Rush, Jay White, and ACH are going to take on the Briscoes and Toro Yano in a first round match there for the 6-man tag team titles at All Star Extravaganza. That is official. And before we sign out of this show, Nigel takes a moment to address the television camera, and we see the Addiction watching him from backstage. Nigel says that they looked really comfortable on that ladder, so at All-Star Extravaganza on September 30th, they will defend the ROH World Tag Team titles in a ladder war against the Young Bucks and the Motor City Machine Guns. And that card is already huge because Adam Cole's going to defend the world title against Michael Elgin. You have the 6-man tag team title tournament happening on that show, and Lord knows whatever else, and it's feeling huge already.
Yeah, it definitely is. And man, I mean, once again, I mean, it doesn't hurt to just make, these things known, even if it's at the end of the show, because, people are wondering what's going to happen. And now at the end of the show, we got something great to look forward to. And so Nigel McGuinness, having an announcement at the end there was important, even if it was after a great match like we saw. So I thought it was necessary. I know some people would say, why end it like that? But to me, it was great. I really enjoyed, the intrigue and everything that they put together. So I'm excited. I really am. That's going to be a great match, man. I can't wait. And, I love the fact, once again, the Addiction whole story to tell throughout the show. And hey, they even get to kind of close with it. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been into Ring of Honor for a long time, Ladder War has a whole ton of history to it. It was made off the backs of a show we've actually reviewed on here before from the Man Up pay-per-view where Kevin Steen and El Generico, better known now as Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn took on the Briscoes, and this super violent affair in a ladder match that ended with the formation of the Age of the Fall. And then they ended up having another ladder war after Steen and Generico split up, and that was super violent, and it kept building on all these other ladder wars, and this will be the 6th one. And Ring of Honor has a whole story around it. The match is banned. It's only brought out for these big time occasions, and certainly has a lot of build to it already if you're just into the ladder war scene and have been around Ring of Honor for a long time.
Definitely. So there you go, guys. That is Ring of Honor for this week, and we hope you've enjoyed the show. We've had a lot of great things to talk about, and of course, if you want more stuff, hey, it's not long before you're going to get it. We are going to have some big stuff to talk about on this Thursday live episode 211 Part 2. That's right. Wrestling to the Max is going to bring to you a lot of great things. NXT. We're talking Lucha Underground Season 3. We're going to also get into Impact Wrestling. They got, this whole big, huge match, Delete or Decay. Yeah, I know. You've heard of it, right? We are going to be getting into that. And, of course, a lot more. We have some big news I'm sure we'll be giving to you also in that episode. So you don't want to miss it. It's going to be exciting. If you have not gone and checked out our Raw review or a SmackDown Live review, go do that now. Now that you've got a chance to hear this episode, you want to go get those under your belt as well. So a lot of great things coming everybody's way. Once again, go subscribe to the W2M Network. It's one click, and you can get all of our content and, of course, much, much more. A lot of other great podcasts on that network. And before I throw it to Sean and get some of that information, I just want to say one thing I didn't say earlier. I wanted to say happy birthday to my mom. She had a birthday today, and it was kind of fun. Got to do a few things to celebrate. So, just want to throw that out there. But, Sean, what's going on in the W2M Network, man?
Oh, happy birthday to Mrs. Vaughn as well.
Indeed.
Lovely lady. Always nice when I get to, meet her. The few times I've gotten to since I've been here. But, we pretty much every show had a podcast, I think, this week, except for a few. So, check out that Fox and Squid, the Running Wild podcast. Of course, Wrestling and Wrapped they made their big return. They had a Getting to Know Them show. You get to hear about all their favorites and guys they don't like. And, I'll give you a hint, brother, one of the guys they don't like there. But if you haven't listened to the show before, it's pretty much Patrick just does that all the time. So,
yeah.
It's like a staple of their show. Just
can't escape it whenever Ketsa does the big specials with us for the WWE pay-per-views either.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're not even talking about Hogan. Here we go, brother. Just, yeah. So just check it out, and hopefully, on the Thursday show we have some more stuff to announce. 2 big things, and who knows? Could hopefully lead to some good stuff.
Definitely. So a lot of exciting times around here, guys. We've got a lot of cool things coming your way. You don't want to miss any of it. So, but anyway, all right. Well, that's our show for tonight, and hopes everybody else has a great week. Of course, lots of great wrestling coming your way, and also the NFL football season starts. Yeah, go check out those games. We will be. So, all right. Well, until next time, if you're not living life to the max.
Not living life at all.
You know it.
Peace.
Later.